Jared Fogle has been charged and has admitted to participating in a 5-year criminal scheme to exploit children.
The new information on the shocking revelations against former Subway spokesperson Jared Fogle, paying to have sex with minors, receiving child pornography. Team coverage tonight of the stunning details revealed by prosecutors about text messages, emails, and hidden cameras. His defense team on Jared's response, how long he might stay in prison, plus the question so many parents are asking, how to protect your children from a predator. It all starts right now.
Now, breaking news from RTV6.
Jared also knows that he has a medical problem. He has already sought evaluation by a world-class psychiatrist experienced in these matters, and he will seek appropriate treatment.
That's Jared's attorney after court today. And now you see right there the disgraced former Subway spokesperson walking out of the federal courthouse.
All after admitting to paying to have sex with underage girls and keeping secret pictures and videos of children. We have full team coverage for you tonight. Call 6 Investigates Rafael Sanchez is anchoring that for us live at the federal courthouse. Rafael.
Todd and Erica, good evening. There are still many more court hearings to come for Jared Fogle. Let me take you inside the paperwork. Come closer to me. Here you will see, I will circle it for you. This is Jared Fogle's signature on the plea agreement that a federal judge will have to consider. And in this paperwork, all these pages, 26 pages, Jared Fogle talks about having an inappropriate sexual relationship with young girls. He also admits to receiving and distributing child pornography. Today, Jared Fogle made his first appearance in court. As he left, he said nothing. Under a media frenzy, Jared Fogle walked out of the federal courthouse in Indianapolis.
Back up, back up.
Fame and fortune will not protect you from attacking those most vulnerable in our communities. And this is an absolute testament to that commitment.
The man accused of victimizing young girls for sex has agreed to at some point register as a sex offender. Under his proposed deal with the government, he was required to make a $1.4 million payment to be split equally by 14 female victims.
Jared Fogle had to pay that money. Everyone recognizes he's wealthy, but today he's less wealthy, and for the benefit of those victims.
The FBI search at Jared's home on July the 7th in Zionsville helped investigators recover text messages and internet communications that led to the criminal charges. Fogle is accused of inappropriate activity involving minors dating back to 2007. Investigators say that between 2010 and 2013, he traveled to New York City to engage in sex with young girls at posh hotels like the Plaza and Ritz-Carlton.
I want to make sure we send a message. You may hide in the confines of your home, on the internet, on your laptop, your tablet, and think you're not being found. We'll find you.
Now, according to the plea agreement that was signed by Fogle and the U.S. Attorney's Office, he would face at a minimum 5 years in prison, but the U.S. Attorney's Office could ask for more depending on what comes out over the next couple of weeks. Our team coverage now continues with Melissa Mahadeo, who heard from Jared Fogle's attorney, Jeremy Margolis. Melissa?
That's right, Rafael. Thank you. As Fogle was being whisked away from the courthouse, one of his attorneys stopped to speak on his behalf in front of that large media presence. Jeremy Margolis was brief in his comments, but he said that Fogle expects to serve his time, take responsibility for what he did, and become a productive member of society again.
He will fully and completely acknowledge his responsibility for his wrongdoing and his acts and his conduct. He has already volunteered to make restitution to those individuals who have been impacted by his behavior. He knows that restitution can't undo the damage that he's done, but he will do all in his power to try to make it right.
No date has been set for Fogle's change of plea, nor a date set for his sentencing before Judge Tanya Walton-Pratt. He will be on home detention with GPS monitoring until that sentencing.
Melissa, Melissa, thank you. As Mr. Margolis spoke, of course, Jared Fogle was being driven away in his vehicle. We're told that he may be returning or possibly going to Chicago. I'm standing live here at the State Police Post on the city's east side. Behind me is that forensics mobile lab. A number of agencies were involved in the investigation, State Police, FBI, and Metro Police. But there was another key investigator who is not human who helped crack this case. And our team coverage continues right now with our very own Jack Reinhardt. Jack?
Well, Raphael, the dog is not only unique but rare. In fact, there are only 3 other dogs in the entire country just like him, and he's specially trained to sniff out electronic storage devices like this one.
Show me. Show me.
His name is Bear, a Labrador Retriever with a nose with a knack for smelling out electronic media storage devices. He can easily detect SD cards, micro SD cards, thumb drives, and iPads, and his training took 4 months.
Dogs are just trained on the odors itself and just presenting the odor to the dog and getting them to actually respond to that. Well, it's not necessarily the SD card, it's the components that make the SD card that are similar to the same thing as the thumb drive and the iPads and everything else. I mean, they're all uniquely the same.
So far, Bear has worked 5 investigations for the Indiana Crimes Against Children Task Force, including the search of Jared Fogle's Zionsville home. The task force put him on notice of a pending investigation, but he didn't know where he was going or what he would be doing until he arrived.
I'm just doing a job. I mean, it was the same as going to a large lost fire scene with an accelerant dog. You just kind of get used to, just doing your job and not really getting caught up in the big picture.
While handler Todd Jordan might downplay Bear's role in the investigation, the U.S. Attorney's Office called Bear's discovery of a hidden thumb drive vital to the investigation.
It's all critical because what we put together is a huge spreadsheet and understanding of everything Fogle did during a broad period of time and what he didn't do. And that's one more point in that whole understanding of what that's all about.
The Seattle Police Department. Todd Jordan also has another dog named Daisy, and after September 11th, 9/11, if you will, she'll go to work at the World Trade Center. The fight against child pornography literally going to the dogs. Reporting live from the newsroom, Jack Reinhardt, RTV6.
Jack, a lot of teamwork to crack this case. So who is Jared Fogle? Fogle was first noticed on the IU Bloomington campus by the student newspaper, which featured his weight loss back in 1999. That front page article is what really landed him as the company's spokesperson for Subway. RTV6's Katie Hines is live with the rise and fall of Jared Fogle.
He's been known for 15 years as Subway Jared, but as soon as rumors of a possible plea deal surfaced, the company was quick to issue a statement saying that it had ended its relationship with the spokesman. And a local PR expert says Subway had no choice.
This is Jared. He weighed 425 pounds.
This is home video of Jared Fogle, shown in the very first Subway commercial featuring the IU student in 2000.
We're not saying his diet is right for you.
He quickly became an inspiration and a successful pitchman for the company, sharing how he dropped 245 pounds on the Subway diet of 2 sandwiches a day. Fogle says he didn't want kids to make the same mistake, and that's why he created the Jared Foundation in 2004.
The more food I ate, the less I wanted to move, because I felt so full. And the less I wanted to move, the more bored I was, which meant I wanted to eat more.
The nonprofit strive to prevent childhood obesity through awareness and education. This video from late 2004 shows one of Fogle's countless public appearances across the country during more than a decade. Here he's kicking off a fitness program at an elementary school in Lawrence Township.
100 pounds and keeps weight off for 17 years. Guy now has 2 kids.
Subway had planned to rebrand Fogle as a family man before the FBI raided his Zionsville home last month. The company suspended ties within hours of that raid and ended its relationship.
I think Subway acted swiftly, and which was very good, and it appears that they're handling this very appropriately.
Borshoff Vice President Linda Jackson says the company didn't have any other option than to distance itself from Fogle. She doesn't think the charges against the now former spokesman will hurt Subway in the long run.
It's interesting, it's what I've seen on social media today. There doesn't seem to be a connection with consumers between Fogle and Subway. They're seeing it as separate.
Whether Fogle's Fogel's guilty plea has any long-term impact on Subway's brand or sales remains to be seen, but Linda Jackson tells us she doesn't expect the company to put another new spokesperson in front of the camera right away. In the meantime, the status of the Jared Foundation remains unclear. The website for the nonprofit organization was taken down after the FBI raided his Zionsville home. Reporting live tonight, Katie Hines, RTV6.
Of course, these allegations against Jared Fogle have had a major ripple effect, not only for the victims. Remember, there are 14 women, or young women, who are victims. 4 are adults right now who will each split $1.4 million. But there's also a family. Jared was married and had 2 children. His family now responding tonight to RTV6 News. And now at 5 o'clock, let's hear what Jared Fogle's wife has to say. Katie released this statement through her attorney. In part, it says, "Obviously, I am disappointed by the recent developments involving Jared. I'm in the process of seeking a dissolution of marriage. My focus is exclusively on the well-being of my children. Neither I nor my family will have any further comment on the matter. I appreciate respect for my family's privacy during this difficult time." Fogle's family also released a statement to RTV6 this afternoon. They go on to say, "Our family is shocked and profoundly disappointed in Jared's abhorrent criminal behavior, and we are very concerned for the well-being of those affected by his conduct. At the same time, we are gratified that Jared is accepting responsibility for what he has done by agreeing to plead guilty to the charges filed today and by volunteering to make restitution to the victims. We are also gratified that he is seeking medical treatment. We hope that he will become healthy again and are confident that after he serves his sentence, he will continue to make amends. We look forward to the day that he rejoins our family and our society." Of course, the big question, of course, after 2012 and the Super Bowl that came to Indianapolis, the state really kicked off a campaign against human trafficking and focusing on the issue of prostitution and making sure that women would not be victimized. It's a major issue for the state now in its 4th year, but third year. But of course, now this issue with Jared Fogle has sort of brought up that discussion to the forefront. Child advocates now asking that very question: how do we discuss this issue of Jared Fogle and what's happened to these young ladies? As our coverage continues, I turn now to Call 6 Investigates, Kara Kenny. Kara?
That's right, Raphael. Many people say this would never happen to my child. My child would never be paid for sex. But IMPD's Human Trafficking Unit says it is happening in central Indiana, especially when it comes to children from broken homes. The Julian Center provides help for victims of sexual violence. Court documents revealed today that Jared Fogle paid for sex with underage girls. The Julian Center CEO emphasizes a minor cannot consent to sex, and children usually end up as prostitutes by being lured into it by pimps or by other children. She says parents should look out for warning signs such as a child becoming distant and secretive, running away and disappearing, because the long-term effects of human trafficking can be devastating.
Obviously, there's the trauma of the violence itself. That kind of crime and trauma can lead to other problems for children, eating disorders, suicidal thoughts, risky behavior that leads to other kinds of problems for them, the inability to concentrate at school.
And tonight on the news at 6, we'll tell you what the hotel industry is doing to address the problem of sex trafficking in central Indiana. Live in the newsroom, Kara Kenny, RTV6.
And we're back live here on the city's east side. The state police forensic lab right behind me. It was this lab that was parked in the home of Jared Fogle back on July the 7th. And it was in that lab that they were able to take apart computers and find text messages and other internet communication, which allowed them to build up their case. Coming up all new at 5:30, how this investigation all started and led to what happened today inside that Indianapolis federal courthouse. We'll have much more as we continue to develop this story on RTV6. We're live on the city's east side. Rafael Sanchez, now back to you in Studio A.
The details continue to unfold. Thank you so much, Rafael.
All right, today also a Storm Team 6 action day. We are tracking showers and storms on TrueView radar with the threat of severe weather still in the air. Let's get right over to Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory.
And we'll maintain a low severe threat, Todd, until the cold front goes through. That'll be later this evening. As you take a look at the veil of clouds, that's helped. If we had absolute sunshine in the afternoon, that would have energized the atmosphere. Cloud cover has helped kind of settle things just a little bit. Notice coast in Marion County within 465. No showers around. This is building. We've had these pop up in western Indiana earlier and then fade away. We'll see if this can build a little more, moving from Advance toward Lebanon. Other area of rain has fizzled altogether. That was hanging out around Frankfort. Just a few sprinkles left there. The more substantial and put together area of thunderstorms is moving between Greensburg and Versailles, headed toward Batesville. Will have its biggest impact along I-74 from Greensburg to Cincinnati. There's the broader view. I'll show you why I think thunderstorms become more numerous this evening and what it all means for the next 3 days coming up.
The Boone County Sheriff is demanding answers from NDOT after that deadly crash yesterday in the I-65 detour route. Sheriff Mike Nelson posted this very blunt and bold message on Facebook last night. He's demanding NDOT install a traffic light at the intersection of US 52 and State Road 47, which he says is becoming more dangerous as the detour around bridge work on I-65. RTV6's Mike Pelton talked with the sheriff today.
And the sheriff is putting NDOT on the clock, pushing for them to come up with a better traffic solution within 24 hours and saying a traffic light would go a long way to shoring up safety on this stretch of US 52. The stretch in question is at the intersection with State Road 47, which is seeing a big increase in traffic as it's the detour around northbound I-65. Today, those who work nearby say drivers go way too fast as they try and make up time. Now, Boone County Sheriff Mike Nielsen says this has always been a dangerous stretch of road, but even more so with increased traffic. He points to a spike in crashes, including a fatal crash on US 52 on Tuesday, which he admits was caused by a distracted driver.
But I also want to make very clear that 30 days prior to that detour, we had no accidents on US 52 from I-65 to the Clinton County line. Since then, I can tell you that we've had 12 accidents in that stretch of roadway.
It's a bad stretch of road. As drivers, we all need to, recognize that it's unusual circumstances, plan an extra 10, 15 minutes on our drive, which, isn't really going to hurt anybody in the long run, and just slow down.
NDOT, meanwhile, says they've made safety improvements, including reducing the speed limit to 45 miles an hour near State Road 47, installing temporary Your Speed Is signs to reinforce the limit, and working with state police to add extra patrols. To this point, there is no mention of a traffic light. And although NDOT says no solution is off the table, they say crash data does not suggest a traffic light would have prevented these recent crashes. In Boone County tonight, Mike Pelton, RTV6.
And more new developments regarding the I-65 bridge. Crews are still testing a solution to the settling problem that led to the closure in the first place. Specialized crews began installing a test stabilizer near the bridge on Monday. The process involves drilling steel casings through the watertight soils, injecting grout to fill and densify the sandy soil, and then installing the micropile for stabilizer. The test model is expected to be completed today, and then the grout must cure for 3 days before engineers can determine if a solution is a success. Repairs are expected to take until mid-September.
Big new developments tonight from Washington. Indiana Senator Joe Donnelly confirming he will vote in favor of the agreement with Iran. The senator's office sharing that decision with RTV6 today. In a statement, Donnelly says, despite having objections about Iran's intentions, I'm willing to give this agreement the opportunity to succeed. While I share the concerns expressed by the agreement's critics about what may happen 10, 15, or 20 years from now, I cannot in good conscience take action that would shift the potential risks of 2026 and 2031 to 2016. Donnelly was a key target of opponents of the Iran deal, hoping to convince him to vote against it. 2 Democratic senators have announced their opposition.
Hey, we'll start with the weather now. Camera up in Hamilton County looking south toward Indianapolis. You see just a hint of some sunshine there. Also, as we look west from Indianapolis, brighter sky there to the south and west, and it looks like a little darker north and east toward Lebanon. And I'll show you where the showers and thunderstorms are in a second. We remain in a marginal or low risk for severe storms across much of Indiana until a cold front goes through. The main threat or isolated threat threat. I would say it would be damaging wind. Next 12 hours, and really in the short term, is when we'd see the most thunderstorms. We may see some more rain that extends after midnight. The low risk for severe weather we just talked about, and then much cooler in the morning. You'll enjoy that. Let me show you how TrueCast handles this. 7 o'clock tonight, you can see more showers, thunderstorms. Terre Haute to Indy to Richmond south. We put this in motion. Everything moving to the north and east. Still widespread at 9 p.m. By the time we get to 11, still ongoing showers and thunderstorms. Then overnight, what happens? This is in the cooler air that comes back in behind the cold front. It will sweep out of here by the drive to work tomorrow. Wind is out of the southwest now at 10 miles per hour. We're currently at 80 degrees, up 3 degrees from the last hour. See what I see? Temperatures in the 60s. Once you get from Iowa, Des Moines up to Minneapolis, anywhere from Chicago to St. Louis, much more comfortable. That cooler air is going to be drawn into the state once the winds come around to the northwest. The really warm, humid conditions are to the south and east. Now, I say that and you see Louisville's at 78, but they've got thunderstorms ongoing. That's why it's cooler there. We'll all drop into the 50s tonight, and it's not the only night. You'll see several occasions within the 7-day planner where you'll have the opportunity to open the windows. Tonight, well, not one of those because you don't want the rain to come in. Temperatures in the morning with dry conditions as you head to work, only warming into the low 60s. A modest high temperature tomorrow with lots of sunshine in the afternoon at 76 degrees. As you get going on Friday, 56 in Indy, some cooler spots in outlying areas. We'll still manage to keep the high below 80 degrees. And as you look at your 7-day planner, after this evening, the next best chance for thunderstorms, Sunday late afternoon and Sunday night, leading to temperatures in the 70s again for highs. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, and lows in the 50s.
All right.
Some fall-like comfort.
We like
Way
it.
ahead of fall.
You're right. Thanks, Kevin. It looks a little more like a game than regular practice today for the Colts.
Yeah, they're sharing the field with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, week 3 of training camp for the Colts. They bring it back home. They got some company here as the Bears are in town. We'll take a look at Wednesday's joint session. I'm Brett Brown, live at the complex. That story's coming up.
Something different for the Colts this week, a different set of jerseys on their practice field.
Yeah, the team continues training camp back at the team complex, and the Chicago Bears are joining them for a couple of days. Brad Brown is live at the complex with a look. Brad?
Todd and Erica, good afternoon. The teams will play their preseason game coming up on Saturday night. This is something we're seeing a few more NFL teams do over the course of the preseason, is bring in one of their opponents, have a couple of days of practice against one another. Really a chance to mix things up as things can get a little bit stale for these guys over the course of training camp. A lot of days looking at the same guys over and over. There was actually a contingency plan to move part of this practice to Lucas Oil Stadium if the weather got weird today, but a nice day out here and a lot of guys on the field this afternoon. Let's take a look at some of the action. The teams were on the field for a little more than 2 hours. They started off working out separately for about 30 minutes or so. Then they brought it together with offensive one team, defensive one team on the other side of each other, and then they switched it up. Really got a chance to see some good action for a little bit of the media time that we did have this afternoon, specifically between the linemen, kind of the big guys doing a lot of the work head-to-head here as the skill players really kind of stayed amongst their own teams. Now, we had a chance to talk with the Colts this afternoon, kind of before and after practice. Let's get some thoughts from head coach Chuck Pagano. Perhaps a chance to get even more done on a day like today.
Same stuff, just you're going against, another opponent, going against different bodies. So you still want to, you're going to try to get better in all 3 phases. You're going to continue to work on communication, technique, fundamentals, ball security, taking the ball away, all the things that you try to do, whether you're going against yourself or going against somebody else.
Just going out there and just seeing other guys besides the guys you practice against every day. And like I said, just going out there and they not knowing your tendencies like our defensive guys. So just going out there and just being able to compete with those guys and just work on your craft.
The goal of this is for us to just get better at our fundamentals, our technique, running our plays better, not necessarily to try to, scheme them up and try to beat them on Saturday.
We've seen some fights at some of these preseason practices. Not the case here today. Everybody was very cool about the whole thing. Coming up at 6:20, we'll hear from the Bears head coach John Fox and quarterback Jay Cutler. At the Colts Complex, Brad Brown, RTV6 Sports.
We continue to follow those stunning revelations today. Investigators say Jared Fogle shared child porn with the former head of his charity.
We're taking a closer look at the Jared Foundation as well and whether people who donated will be able to get their money back if they want. And a new transportation option for Central Indiana is in the works. How you can find out about the red line before it gets the green light.